Good evening. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to do a few miscellaneous pieces here, including a couple related to Puerto Rico, because as usual, I'm thinking about it. But this is one of my haiku-ish pieces from many years ago. Black 10-gallon hat, red shorts at the bus stop. Every day. Smokes a pipe. Call me Tex. That was from Pottsville. And this is a poem. I think I may have read this earlier, but I'm thinking about Puerto Rico a lot. So this poem was published in the Patterson Review and a couple other places about 15 years ago. And this is called Missing You as Usual in the Wintertime. Hidden in the trunk of the Azul, floating through the house in Las Lomas, riding the blood blossoms of the flamboyant inside the guitar, Boricua, Puerto Rican, Latino, Hispanic. All these words don't catch the smell or spark or the goosebump charge volt rumbling up my spine and through my head when I think of you, Borinquen, Puerto Rico, and I think of you, Puerto Rico. As I sit in front of this computer screen, wrestling articles out of action, statistics, subtle assaults, and the sulfurous vapor coming out of politicians' mouths, I dream of you, my beautiful, brilliant, deranged country. I make do, trying to help my young cousins deal with the language of industrial consonants, the language of Shakespeare, Updike, and of Espada and Soto, of Martin Luther King, and of English-only paranoia, the language of lynching. I remember sea breezes when I shopped the bodega for Café Puro Bacalao, candles with San Lazaro, and enormous plastic dolls wrapped in clear sheets, enormous Indian chief figures designed as if there were still in Taínos in Puerto Rico, and the secret is, there are. There in Vega's Spanish-American grocery, there in my mother's house, there on the street in front of the church on Market Street, inside the Jautilla, in the air above the cinnamon-colored girls laughing in the doorway, in the roar of the engines gunning down Dairy Street, I see you, Borinquen. I cry for you and my blood that has returned to your earth, Puerto Rico. I cry for Abuelo, for Mom, for Tio Raul, and for the people and the things not here, not now, not within reach. Puerto Rico, I'll be looking for you again tonight. And a very short one called On World Poetry Day. On World Poetry Day, I didn't write a poem. I ate an arepa at a table full of beautiful women. Then, at night, I drank wine, played congas, drank more wine, strummed the guitar, and later kissed my wife. So yes, it was a success. And this is one of my music-related poems. One of the things I've been doing off and on for 25, almost 30 years, I've been playing percussion. And this piece is called, For Me, It's the Drummer. Sometimes I get a glimpse of it in the expression on the face of a great player. The twisted sublime of saxman in full flight or grimace on guitarist, even wistful brows of keyboard singer. For me, it's the drummer, especially congueros, leather hands oblivious. Pancho Sanchez said it right. Right hand floats up in half second, suspended snake ready to strike, forearm and hand hanging there for a flash of martial arts stillness, raising up from the brush to attack the blood offering cow skin boom so deep Jurassic, the real one. For me, it's the drummer. Making the Afro-Cuban fist hurricane of jungle and desert and iron chains that never forget, moving towards you, lifting you, ripping trees out of the ground, old cars and streetlights whipping around in circles as you fall through the eye, through the earth, into a place where the rocks speak in colors and the water marks 6/8 time, deep water clave. For me, it's the drummer. And for many years, I studied Spanish culture and Spanish literature. And one of the people that, one of the writers I read quite often was Miguel de Unamuno. And I wrote this poem based in part on one of Unamuno's works called San Manuel, the Good Martyr. And this is called What Prayer Can Be. Do you know the story of San Manuel, the Good Martyr? He kept himself busy constantly to avoid being still. In the stillness, he saw only the black, starless night reflected on the lake near the rectory. I understand his story, but I am more blessed. I find the linear prison corollary in the idea of energy. I've felt it in praying and playing congas and the light in some eyes, any eyes, and that energy, I feel, is spirit. Yeah, sure, you can find it in pretty buildings with nice windows, but it's more easily detectable near streams and late-night jam sessions. The cosmic trifecta, however, involves feeling it and then sending it. This is what prayer can be. And this last piece is sort of an unfinished poem that I wrote about the life of an old friend of mine. I did a few little oral history projects in the barrio. And this is based on the life, this is based on some of the stories Lourdes Tañón told me. Lourdes was the executive director of the Mount Pleasant Hispanic American Center between the late 90s up until about 2004. She was a great lady and a good friend. And this is my unfinished poem about her story, what she told me. And this is called IdaYVuelta Pilgrimage. It was a little town then, Caguas. Good family. Had all the toys I could ever want in el pueblito de Caguas. Wonderful childhood, nice home. Strict but loving parents. My mother made me do all my homework, but I had so much. Even a dollhouse. My father smoked cigars. My father had a truck company, raised fighting roosters. Much of my family was from Spain. Some had blue eyes. I loved my father so much. If I didn't see him enough, I held my breath, turned blue. Loved my mother too. More and more, I gave her the respect she deserved. In college, handsome man. Fought in the war, he sent me orchids, much older, not approved, we married anyway. To New York, to Puerto Rico. I dropped out of college, studied hairdressing, beautician. We had our troubles together, and apart. IdaYVuelta. Our children, our children. He had a good job in Bayamon. Me with a good beauty salon, wanted back to college. More children. Resistance. Things happened so quickly. 4 children, beautiful home. Couldn't get back to college. Accident. Before that, I had a vision. He was in a wheelchair. I was right. The car hit him and sent him 40 feet into the air. He suffered so much. It was never the same. Even before something happened, Korea did something. We struggled. He was in the hospital for so long. Family wanted him back, but I tried to warn them. IdaYVuelta. My children and I arrived in Gettysburg. So much like Caguas, nice little town. They were hiring at the shoe factory. I became an expert cutter. Promotions, more money. I was sent to other factories to train other people, but I wanted something else. Out of shoe cutting into life mending social work. They sent me to help elderly, some in migrant camps. Most of the pickers were Puerto Rican. They picked me to help, and we started getting people jobs or to welfare or to the hospital, to the courts and to the growers interpreting de aquí a allá, IdaYVuelta. We set up an Hispanic center. I got teachers, canning, crocheting, cooking, so many things. We got a house for our center. Migrant workers fixed it up in their spare time. After 12-hour days or on weekends, we had lechon asado in the summer. If someone needed a ride, whoever had a van would go pick them up. Never any fights. We all worked together until the funding left town. I and some children of mine to Harrisburg, I started again cleaning rooms, rose to supervisor, and then to translator, other places, fair housing brochures, to nuestra gente. Grandchildren now, Abuela says. Many steps to executive director of a center for headaches and assistance. Ayuda donde se puede. IdaYVuelta. Children and grandchildren. Caguas in New York. Bayamon y Gettysburg. Y de allá a aquí, Harrisburg. It's for you, Lord, this, wherever you are. Thanks. The site is coming along, and it's taking a lot more work than I thought, but I'm almost there. Thank you.